Hello, this is Santi at Soul Growth Wellness. If you happen to like this video and you'd like to do my other videos, you can go ahead and like, subscribe, and share. But with that, we're going to get into something dealing with wellness today. I'm a coach dealing in wellness and relationships, but today I'd like to focus on wellness. And one of the things I'd like to focus on wellness because that is a multiple levels of topics that you can bring up in terms of wellness is the truths about weight loss and metabolism. There are a lot of things that people think about when they think of weight loss, which is pretty much the premise of like you want to lose weight, you want to look better, you want to be thinner. It's perfectly fine, perfectly normal, perfectly natural, and generally much healthier for a lot of people. Although there are lots of different sizes and a lot of different ways for people to be fit, so I just want to make that clear. You don't have to be a stick figure. You also don't have to be huge, as as a sumo wrestler. But anywhere in between that is perfectly fine, as long as you're taking care of yourself, eating right, and exercising well. Now, with that being said, some of the basics are in terms of weight loss, which is something I would assume that a lot of people know, but then I realize sometimes they don't, so that's why I'm going to go ahead and mention it, is that you want to eat less and you want to exercise more. So if your, calories are, and not just taking in, but like let's say your basal metabolism, that's what your body runs on when it just isn't doing anything but sitting there and maybe sleeping. If you were just doing that all day, maybe your basal metabolic rate is anywhere between 1,000 to 1,700 calories a day. So that means that if you want to lose some weight, if you're at 1,700, I think I said 17,000, but I meant 1,700. If you're at 1,700 basal metabolism, then you're going to want to eat, let's say 1,500 or like 1,400 calories per day. But you also need to include that you're going to possibly moving around and exercising. And you can use simple calculators that you can use on Google to go ahead and calculate how many calories you might need based on a level of low, medium, and high activity in your given day or week. And for most people, that's generally around 1,900 to 2,500 calories or so, give or take. And in that case, the same principle applies, that you eat less than whatever that number is. So if it's 1,900 calories, then you're going to go ahead and eat around 1,500 calories or 1,600 to 1,700. If it's going to be, 2,500 calories, then you're going to eat around 2,200 or 2,000. So somewhere around that. You generally want to try to create a 500 calorie deficit. It's generally pretty standard practice. But I do have to say up front that some people just, that's a really, really hard thing to do. Because, some of us, I know myself in particular, I get really hungry. I don't like the way hunger pains feel. So when I do my weight loss, I go ahead and focus on, getting maybe 200 or 250 less calories per day and just taking a slower route because I'm more interested in the long-term goal than, just trying to get something quickly. And more importantly also is that everyone's body is different. Some people, despite the fact that keto is everything, and I mean, they have so many different variations of it. Keto used to be Atkins, it was also South Beach diet, but basically high protein, low carbs, right? That's again a pretty decent, meal plan for a lot of people to have. You can do it as a vegan, you can do it as a vegetarian, you can do it as a pescatarian. So there are a lot of different operations and variations that you can accomplish with that. But the thing is that everyone's body is different. Some people actually work out really well with a decent amount of carbs, like up to 60% of their calories per day being from carbs. And healthy complex carbs, not like actual sugar. Like, just want to have blue sugar, drinking it all day. Like, that's not going to work. But healthy complex carbs, like from nuts and, like whole grain breads and whole grain pastas and things like that, that's perfectly fine. So, one of the things that I suggest people do is there's a lot of hype around like genotype diets, dealing with, like if you do a diet, specifically based on your DNA. But, what I find is just a really tried and true method. Do different stuff, check different things out. Maybe do a keto diet for like, 4 to 6 weeks. See how that makes you feel. Does your mind clear? Do you feel better? Maybe not 4 to 6 weeks. You might actually want to try to do 8 to 10. And then if you also want to do another diet in terms of, if not high carbs, something that's again at the higher carb level. And you want to maybe find out, does that make you feel, groggy? Do you feel clear? And again, these are really important things. How are your bowel movements? Like, you really want to make sure that you're eating enough fiber in a day, because that can ultimately impact, your level of energy, sluggishness, everything like that. So those are some things that you want to check out in terms of diets. And this is about weight loss and metabolism. And since that's about what this video is, I'm going to get to the metabolism. So metabolism, the only way to increase it, and it's actually not that high, is to increase muscle mass. And the way that you increase muscle mass is by doing regular strength training. You're not going to get that from regular cardio. I mean, you'll get a little bit of muscle training from it, but not a whole lot. You actually need to, lift your body weight. You can do body weight exercises, or you can do exercises dealing with, like resistance, with either bills or resistance bands or anything like that. So you definitely want to go ahead and focus on increasing your muscle mass, because that's just going to also help with your bone density, and it's ultimately going to, like I said, increase your metabolism and decrease your body fat, which is ultimately going to help your cholesterol, your triglycerides, and your artery function and your vein function and your heart overall, and including your lungs as well. So it's a win-win on a whole host of levels. But one of the things to mention about metabolism, though, is that when your body gets smaller, when it shrinks, your metabolism is generally going to go down because you're also going to lose muscle mass. And that may sound like a really weird thing to say, like you need to increase muscle mass, but as you shrink, you're going to lose muscle mass. So it's kind of going to go up and then go down and then kind of go back up. It's a little bit like what I think of for the math heads, like a sine curve, so like up and down, up and down. So you also need to be focused on how your body is operating here. How is it feeling? What are you actually accomplishing in your everyday habits? In terms of your energy level, your level of hunger, satiation, cravings, and also weakness. Because if you exercise too much, then you might actually feel a lot of muscle weakness. If you exercise to the point of, exhaustion over and over again, you could actually increase, a repetitive motion fractures, things like that. So you want to take that into consideration too in terms of weight loss and metabolism. But the reason why I kind of focus on multiple different levels here is because what I want to make clear is that the basic is always, take in less calories than you actually burn during the day. That's a pretty simple concept. But in terms of whether you're going to go keto or whether you're going to go high carb or you're going to go moderate carb, or whether you're going to deal with changing up your diet plan, eating a lot of calories one day, maybe less another day, these are all things that ultimately impact our metabolism. And the real science behind it, and I'll probably try to post something in the pin to the video later on, is that metabolism, scientists, well, I'm not a scientist, but we in the community really don't know how metabolism works. All of it is really just theory at this point. There are so many chemicals, neurotransmitters, hormones that affect people's everyday bodies that metabolism is just really, really not very well understood. It's part of a process called homeostasis, which ultimately is how your body just stays alive, how it stays in equilibrium, how the lungs keep flowing, how the heart keeps pumping, the kidneys keep, filtering out toxins, and you just keep moving forward and drinking enough water and eating enough food to live to the next day. That's like the just most basic level of homeostasis, and there are literally hundreds of other processes that are taking place in your body to maintain that homeostasis, and metabolism is just one of those areas. So you need to be focused on, and I'm saying you, the ubiquitous you, but anyone listening to this video, you need to be focused on experimentation. Experimentation. I know we want goals. I know we want them fast. I know, I understand. I really do. No one can understand that better than me. I am an instant gratification queen. However, the simple fact of the matter is that our bodies are all different, and what works for one person is not going to work for 10 other people. What works for 5 people is going to work for 15 others. What works for 20 people is not going to work for those 50 over here. We are all different. So you have to be open to experimenting with your diet, your exercise, what type of exercise you do, what, intensities, in terms of cardio, strength training, all of that. Just be open to exploring it, because at the end of the day, this is a wellness journey. This is about you living your best life for the rest of your life. So don't just try to, think to yourself, oh, I'm going to get this, bad body in like the next 90 days on this keto diet. Like, you can do that. I'm not going to say that's a bad thing. But if you really want a long-term, like, lifestyle change, then you generally need to focus on experimentation and figuring out what works best for you in the long run. And that's generally going to take people some time to figure out. So I also recommend that you cultivate a lot of patience in this process. And while you're cultivating patience, also cultivate some gratitude for it, because this is an opportunity to discover how your body operates, how it feels, getting in touch with what you feel like, what works best for you, and how you can continue doing that in your life in multiple ways. So that's pretty much all I have in terms of weight loss and metabolism. I hope this video was helpful. If it was, please do subscribe, please do share, and please like. And I will see you all in another video. This was Soul Growth Wellness. Have a great day.